Hi everyone. We wanted to take a few minutes to just talk about, we're going to call it the 100 things we did in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be 100, but it's a lot.
If you count things we did more than once, it's way over 100.
Yeah. So we took a cruise. It's not our first cruise. We do like cruising. This one was different because it was a Canada cruise, northern New England Canada cruise, which we've always done Bermuda, Bahamas. So this was different. It was cold. It was colder than we were used to.
It was in September.
It was in September.
Mid-September.
So, parts of it were chilly. It was a nice cruise. It was Emerald Princess, which that's the first time we went. So it's a nice ship. My daughter actually won a free cruise on this, which she and I are going on in February. So that was nice.
We went to some ports that we haven't been to before.
Yeah.
So we went to Canada, New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. It also hit Bar Harbor, Boston. And other places from New York back to New York.
Yeah, so it was nice. It was interesting. I'm more a warm weather girl, so I'm not sure we're going to be repeating that anytime soon. But it was nice to do, and it was beautiful.
Well, we've been on so many cruises that we've kind of burned up the standard itineraries. We like to leave from New York, New Jersey.
Yeah, we left out of
But,
New York. Oh, Brooklyn. Left out of Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's, there are only some places you could go.
Some of the other places, we took a big trip out to Sedona, Arizona. We stayed in Flagstaff, and we also went through Phoenix. Most of our time was spent in Sedona.
And how do we get there?
By train. We'll talk a little bit about that next. But Sedona is beautiful. Mountains are beautiful. We enjoyed our time there. It was very peaceful. We did a couple of hikes there. Visited a couple of vortexes.
Yep, we flew back via Phoenix because, frankly, we didn't want to take the Amtrak another 2.5 days back to New York.
Phoenix was more like your classic cactus. Like, there were a lot of cactuses in Phoenix. Phoenix is a big city. We just really flew out of Phoenix, so we didn't spend too much time there. And Flagstaff is where the train went. We were only there for a little while, but it was a nice town. Some of the other places, we went to Washington, D.C. Our son lived in that area. We did the travel show there, I think that's what we did there, right?
Very early in January.
Yeah. Cape May, Lambertville,
Point Pleasant,
Highlands, Sussex. We did a couple of fairs there, Wildwood. We also did a trip to Buffalo for the eclipse.
It seems like a long time ago, but it was only April.
Yeah, we took the train up there.
Yeah,
that was a shorter train.
Yep.
And we did a bunch of New York, Flushing, Nanuet, Jericho, PA also. We did Bushkill Falls, Harrisburg, Jim Thorpe, New Hope, Philly. Our son now lives in Philly, in the Philly suburbs, and of course the Poconos. We do like Pennsylvania, but we're probably looking for new things this year because we've done a lot.
Oh, we've got new things for next year, that's for sure.
We do. Amtrak. We did a bit of Amtrak. We did Amtrak, as I said, up to Buffalo. That was relatively short Amtrak for the eclipse.
That was the Maple Leaf.
But the big trip, did you want to talk about that?
The big trip was New York to Chicago, Chicago to Flagstaff. This consists of 2 lines on Amtrak. So the first one was the Lakeshore Limited, which goes up to Buffalo and then kind of goes down and then scoots its way out to Chicago. And then the second half of that is the Southwest Chief, and that is Chicago to Flagstaff. Rented a car down to Sedona, took that car down to Phoenix, and flew back.
We were on the train 51 hours.
I got the
sleepers.
Who got the top
You
one?
got the top
I got the top one.
Going to Chicago, it's small. I mean, even the sleepers are small. I mean, you really can't spend much time in there.
And to get a bedroom, which is a bigger overnight accommodation, is very expensive.
Yeah.
No, there's no way we're doing that.
You got food with it. The food was the food was fine. It was better going from Chicago to Flagstaff. It was more dining. But the food was fine going to Chicago also, and it was a pleasant trip. You know?
We used the Amtrak lounge when we were in Chicago.
Yes, we took a shower.
We actually took a shower in Chicago.
We saw the lounge in New York too. So something we wanted to do. I'm not sure I'd rush to do it right away again.
Yeah, but as a bucket list item, it's not quite coast to coast.
No,
but we're going to check it off as
it was a long.
Yeah.
And really there aren't many stops, so they have some fresh air breaks, but you really couldn't leave. So you really just sat most of the time and then looked out the window, looked at the scenery, which is very pretty, but it, at certain points it's very monotonous. Like,
I did record all 51 hours on my long-term video camera. I decided.
We have a couple of videos on that.
I have a couple of videos, but they're not 51 hours. They were about 15 minutes each. In 51 hours, there's frequently not a lot to see.
It's the same thing.
And a lot of it's asleep. We missed Indiana totally because we were asleep.
Yeah. The next thing was we did a bunch of hikes in the summer, fall. They're like too many. South Mountain, we live near South Mountain Reservation.
We like South Mountain because it's nearby. It has many different trailheads and many different trails and different things to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we hit that maybe from 8 different trails.
Yeah.
But there's local stuff that we like. The new stuff was going to Arizona and hiking in Arizona. We went at a time of year when it wasn't too hot. Although, the week before we were there, it was very hot everywhere.
Yeah.
But by the time we got there, it was like 70s, maybe 80s.
The next thing was we did a bunch of festivals. We're big on the weekend, like let's just go to a festival.
Yeah, in the summer, if the weather's nice, we're hiking and we're driving.
Yeah.
Just to get out of town and do different stuff.
Botanical Garden, we had joined. We had done the train show and the orchard show. Turtleback Zoo, we live near. That's a favorite. We did an Airbnb, I think it was, at a sheep farm.
We got to get up close and personal with the sheep. Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Actually, that was on the New Jersey side, just barely on the New Jersey side.
Nice. We did tubing in the Delaware.
Yep.
We did Cape May Zoo. We did cow cuddling. That was different for us, where you get a half an hour with your own cow.
You don't get to take it home.
You could pet it.
You just borrow it.
Brush it and then just chill with it. So that was fun. What else did we do?
Well, as we said before, we went up to Buffalo for the eclipse.
Yeah.
In that case, we had like a 3-day tour with a bunch of other people. The entire full-size bus was our group, and we had other buses related to our group, so we traveled together. So all the meals were planned and different little things like Fort Niagara and the Packard Museum and stuff like that.
It was interesting. That was the first time we had done a group thing, and it was a short, I think it was 3 days or 4 days, so it has its pluses and minuses. You get to interact with people, you don't have to plan anything, but the downside is that, you go where they go. If you don't want to go to that museum, it's, you're on the bus, so it's kind of hard.
It made the whole trip make more sense rather than just going to the eclipse for watching it for an hour.
Yeah.
And if I can talk about the eclipse, it was weird because we were heavily overcast during the eclipse, which means that we couldn't even necessarily see where the sun was, yet the sky did go dark for 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So we got to experience that.
It was cold.
Yeah, it was cold. And we got to experience with 500 other people who were there to do the same thing. So that was fun.
Yeah. We've also done a lot of parks and gardens. We're in Essex County, New Jersey, and we do have the luxury of having a lot of local parks and gardens, and just a lot of local things to do. Yeah.
And we make the most of it.
We do. Concerts. We actually did a lot of concerts. We're pretty big on trying to see, I'm going to quote the oldies. We've seen like Little Anthony and who did we see?
Well, Bill Medley and Little Anthony are both in their mid-80s.
Yeah.
We didn't see them together, but there's a feeling that maybe this is the time to see some of these groups. It's amazing how many of them are still touring.
Yeah. We did do the Wildwood Festival, Wildwood, New Jersey. We stayed over. There was a package deal, which was pretty neat, and we saw the cameos, Frankie Avalon, Letterman, and the Shirelles. So that was, and they had a dance also. So they had a dance, and then they had the concert.
The cameos did a 4-hour dance party on Friday night.
Yeah.
We didn't dance all 4 hours, but we did get up there. It was fun watching even people older than us dancing for hours and hours.
Dressed in like 50s. It was fun.
It was just it was fun watching them.
And some people come back every year to that. Maybe that's an every other year thing. It was a lot of fun. And we did a bunch of other concerts at NJ Pack.
We're lucky to have a lot of venues that are within 45 minutes of us. We have half a dozen or more venues.
We also did a lot of plays. We are a member of the Barn Theater in
Montville,
New Jersey, and they do like 6 plays. So I think it's 6 plays a year. So we do all their plays.
And we get the same seats. We buy a season ticket.
Yeah, Paper Mill Playhouse. We're near a lot of venues. We did 2 trips with a senior group. We saw beautiful, that we saw on our own. We saw Jersey Boys and White Christmas. We saw Elf. We saw a lot.
Yeah.
Sister Act was at an outdoor theater in the summer.
That's all the stuff. Well, that's the stuff that we recorded that we did.
I'm sure we missed some things.
Yeah, because in the summer we don't stand still.
Winter's tougher because there's not as much and it's cold. We like to be outside if we can doing stuff, but that's not really a reality.
Yeah, where we are in the summer, we can always find a group to hike with, even on the same day.
Yeah.
But we prefer to hike with other people.
I don't hike in cold weather. No.
No, well, I don't do. No. I don't. No. This is my limit too. We like to hike with other people just because you reach a certain age where accidents can happen. Not that we've had a problem with that.
We've seen it though.
But we've seen other people get hurt.
Yeah.
So we like to be in a group, and there's like maybe 5 or 6 meetup groups that meet locally for hiking. We love that.
Yeah.
So what's coming up next year?
Next year is a big year. Next year in February, I'm doing another cruise with my daughter.
And I'm staying home.
Fort Lauderdale to Caribbean. I forget where. Dominican Republic, Bahamas.
Belize?
No, I don't think it's Belize. And then we have a huge trip planned in May to Thailand. 3 weeks. We're going to Thailand. We're flying into Singapore, going to Bangkok, going to Chiang Mai, down to Kuala Lumpur, and then back to Singapore. So it's going to be about a 3-week trip.
It's the first time in Asia, first time west of Los Angeles.
I have most of the big pieces, the airline, and the hotels.
She's got this plane down to the minute.
Yeah, I got the hotels pretty much all on points for my credit cards, with the exception of one stay. So, yeah, looking forward to it. A lot of moving pieces. Most of them we have, down and I have booked. There's a couple more things I have left to book, but yeah, it'll be the longest trip we've ever taken and the furthest trip. I think the airline is 23 hours to Singapore, so that should be interesting. And we want to travel more. I am actually making a job change where I'll be working from home. I'll be working for myself, so I'm hoping to have more leeway, and you'll be fully retired next year.
Yep.
So we want to try to, you want to keep busy while you're feeling well and while everything works.
Some vloggers that we watch talk about go-go years, slow-go years, no-go years.
Go-go.
So although I'm 69 and a half, I still consider the next 5 years to be go-go years.
Yep.
Because I've got no health conditions right now that I expect would slow me down in the next 5 years. But after that, we'll reassess. You're younger than me, so you probably have a little bit more time. But this is the time to go.
Yeah. So we will we'll probably try to do, we haven't done many videos, hopefully we'll get back into it. Probably next we'll be on the cruise and just on some of the trip planning. It's a lot to plan a big trip like that. I guess you could use a tour, but I didn't want to go that route, so I did it. So it's a lot of moving pieces, but I enjoy it. So
she loves planning.
Yeah, we'll do another video on that and all the kind of the planning. And if you guys have any advice, if anybody's been to Asia that you want to give us some advice or some pointers, we'd appreciate that. And hope you enjoyed this.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays.